if you start with the revocable living trust as the base of the estate plan, and then just where does it need to go? Well, it can't go to them directly.
Hi, Jeff Marsace, the Plain English Attorney, and welcome to the video. This is going to be put out in 3 parts, and this is actually an interview that was done with HD Reach on some very important topics regarding Huntington's disease, planning ahead, and trying to make sure that you're not losing everything for your loved one to get the care that they need. Now, the reason this is going to be put out in 3 parts is, honestly, we just need a little bit of time. We've got a big conference coming up that I'm presenting at. We've got a new book that's just about there and ready to launch. So we're going to need some time. So the video over the next 3 weeks is going to be this interview. And then after that, we hope to get back to a more steady flow of fresh content every week. So please enjoy the video and look for the book launch soon of the Divorce Firewall Strategy.
Another case I had, it was really a father and son, and it was for mom. And I said, okay, look, here's what you need to do. This is what it would cost for us to put together the plan, but I think we're going to be able to save you about 80 to 90% of what you've got here. I heard from them about 16, 17 months later. They didn't, they want to come with me. Okay, that's fine. I get it. But they went down to the Medicaid office. Not only did they have dad spend down most of his assets when he didn't need to, they kept mom's IRA in place. When she had medical bills, the Medicaid caseworkers suggested taking out a line of credit against the house to pay those medical bills. And then they were coming to me because, well, the Medicaid caseworkers said that you could do an immediate annuity with an IRA. Yeah, but it's mom's IRA. The money goes to mom. The way Medicaid works at a nursing home is your income goes to the facility first, and then Medicaid picks up the difference. So not only did they lose everything, they went into debt because they went to the Medicaid caseworker for the quote free plan.
If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
Yeah,
So common. It's such a common thing.
Yeah. I think you're really driving home, this is this is incredibly important. This is future income. This is whatever little income that you feel is little, it's like there is still an opportunity to possibly save, to be creative, to do something different, to plan for your family and plan for yourself going forward. I think that's important to bring to the forefront, because I think it is, even myself. I mean, I catch myself where it's like, let's talk to the Medicaid office and let's, try to go that route. And I think it's just bringing home the fact now that is not a safe place to go to necessarily.
They're not such bad experiences with the Medicaid office when dealing with dad that I refuse to go, because at no point have they ever helped us with what we needed help with. So this is a bit of a validation, to hear some of this, because realizing that it wasn't just in my head that they weren't helping. It truly is that they weren't helping. But it definitely has caused this bad feeling towards Medicaid workers and what they're doing.
I also want to look on the other side, that there are some Medicaid caseworkers. They are actually really good people.
Yeah.
They will go out of their way to do things that help you get documentation and stuff like that. And they genuinely care, but the rules don't let them help you save money.
Right.
Their job is to help you spend all of your money in order to qualify, because they want as much as possible to not have the government pick up the tab.
I
Now, the
also
way
think it's interesting too that it's different for every county, right? Like there are certain counties that are able to help more versus other counties that don't have as much money towards Medicaid. I'm guessing is it goes back to finances. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, well, it also, it's who's in charge of that office and who did they hire.
gotcha.
You know, I see this in probate a lot. Several years ago, probate was taking forever for some of my clients. And it's like, what happened? Well, the clerk who was running everything efficiently ended up running for office and becoming the district attorney. And then the next person who got in, they did okay, but then they lost the next election. And the new person was like, just not up to speed. And everything fell behind. And then 2 years later, there was another election. And a lot of the staff from the estates division ended up taking other politically appointed jobs. And then COVID hit, and some people said, I'm going to retire early, or I don't want to deal with this anymore. And they had to completely restaff. That was happening in Wayne County. There were other counties where stuff like that wasn't happening, and they were able to maintain and keep everything going. So county by county, it's not that there are different rules or budgets or laws, it's the personnel. Like most things, it's the people behind it that may or may not be getting things done the right way, or may not be getting it done in a timely manner. Now, there's one point I really want to make. In the United States of America, we're never going to say we're just not going to provide help. But for expensive stuff like Medicaid qualification, they will keep making the rules and the exceptions more complex so that they can say politically, oh, people don't need to go broke. They can still keep their house. Yeah, but if you don't set it up the right way, Medicaid can make your state sell the house and take the money back. Oh, well, you can qualify even if you've got these types of assets. Yeah, but nobody's helping them get through those two or three steps in order to get there. That's where not just attorneys, but I'm a certified Medicaid planner, and that's a program that certifies people to help with all of this Medicaid planning for attorneys, accountants, financial advisors, and even social workers. You just have to go through a test. Now, I'm just going to put this as an interjection. If you want to cut it from the video, it was the first time, and this was about 9 years ago, that I became a certified Medicaid planner. It was the first exam since junior year of high school where I couldn't use a calculator and had to do long division by hand with a pencil. But I passed it. That was part of the exam to become a certified Medicaid planner. And so, okay, yeah, I had to do long division without a calculator. So it's not just attorneys. There are other professionals who are certified Medicaid planners who can help with this process as well.
Do you deal with a lot of people who, as they're in that process of pending disability and pending Medicaid and all of that stuff, that they end up having to file for bankruptcy? Or have you seen a lot of that just to survive, like wait times and things like that? Or are you able to really just help with avoiding that?
I haven't had any clients go bankrupt in that benefit waiting period. But then again, once we've got the strategy set up, I have other people that I'm working with who are handling the applications. It's
Gotcha.
possible that happened. But usually if you're at that point where you need that level of care, especially when it comes to stuff like Medicaid, it's usually about a 2-month process. You get denied, okay, that's a whole other matter.
I know that you have special needs planning on your site.
Mm-hmm.
I have started to dive a little bit more into just for the juvenile Huntington's disease families. So we have that's for those watching, it's a earlier version of Huntington's disease that impacts children. It can impact in their teens and their 20s. It's an earlier age, and it can be a more rapid form. But you have parents, you would have an affected parent. So you have somebody who has HD, who passed the gene down and it expanded into this shorter version. So you have a parent who has an HD diagnosis, then you have a child who is looking to live most of the time less than the actual impacted parent. So you have one parent who's caregiving and trying to work through Medicaid. And I guess, what would you kind of take a look at that situation, and what would be some of your first steps that you would recommend to go, this is what you really need to go to this attorney for, and start talking about this kind of trust, start talking about these kinds of forms to get in place, so that there is some asset protection and yet still being able to utilize Medicaid services?
Okay. It really, the big thing is looking at first the parent that's going to need that type of care. And do we need to get them qualified for Medicaid? And if we do that, and assets can get shifted around into those irrevocable trusts, when you're talking about now the child as a potential beneficiary, there's no age 40. It's locked up for their lifetime in the hands of the trustee with complete discretion. That's what keeps any type of potential inheritance down the road from being counted on the child's balance sheet. So I have worked with families where the parents may be okay, but it's an adult child that got diagnosed, and they're starting to, how can I make sure that I'm protecting it? If anything happens to us, I don't want my child to just be cut out. But at the same time, I want to make sure that it doesn't have to get spent down on care. I want whatever's left to go down to the grandkids. Very, very common desire and common goal. Well, you now start with, okay, they're going to do a revocable living trust. If they're going to leave it to their child, we may set up a separate, what we call an asset management trust. So there's someone else as the trustee. They're the beneficiary, but they can't demand money. It always has to be the trustee who will pay or not pay. And if they're paying for something, they're paying it for it directly. And then for whatever gets inherited, if that child passes on, then it goes down to the grandkids. And we just call it it's a safety valve. We have that safety information in there in case something happens and one of the grandkids are also potentially disabled. It will lock it up for their life. And if not, okay, it gets distributed at age 40. So there's a way to plan ahead for this. If it's the family that's coming to me, the parents of the person who has the HD or potentially, and they need to protect things, we can work with just about anything. It's if you've got assets that need to be protected, we need to make sure we're doing it the right way.
Thank you. I know that was a bit of it's a very real family unit, that it's a very real story that happens across the world with those who have HD in their family, juvenile form as well. And it's very complex and complicated, but it sounds like there are ways to be able to navigate these waters and do them a little less stressful, where it's an already stressful and heartbreaking situation. Having somebody like yourself or an attorney to be able to wade through that with you sounds like probably the best option to really take into consideration.
I hate to say it like this, but it's kind of like a game, and you have to know the rules of the game in order to win. And a lot of what, when it comes to Medicaid is just banking on the fact that most people are going to start looking at the rules, say this is too complicated, throw up their hands, and just spend down everything. There are ways to do it, but that's why there are professionals like me who can take that creativity, find those loopholes, and come up with strategies like I mentioned with mom buying 80% of the daughter and son-in-law's house and filtering the money through and saving it.
That shows the creativity, like the creativeness that you can really, because some of these stories, I'm like sitting here like, wow, like I would never have, as a human, social worker, but a regular human being going, I never would have thought about that. The creativeness and the different ways that you can kind of bend some of these pathways for people.
Yeah.
To really end up saving, to protecting, and saving more than what they probably thought they could save for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for just being here and talking with us, because I think this is all such important information. And I have like probably one last question before, Lauren, if you have any
Sure.
more. If you have a non-HD parent, so you have somebody who is does not have HD, and they might have 2 children or 3 children that carry the genes, so they will at some point have HD. They want to make sure that they can put them in the will and give them their home or whatever assets they have, so that they have these children are supported and taken care of. Now, is that recommended? Like, would that impact Medicaid? Would that be more of kind of looking at a irrevocable trust? Or
well, okay, it really does depend on how much you want to support the 3 kids separately, or is it all at once? And if the big thing is the home, if you start with the revocable living trust as the base of the estate plan, and then just where does it need to go? Well, it can't go to them directly. So either we can set up something within the revocable trust in the terms, or like I mentioned, those asset management trusts that are irrevocable, the assets can go in there. And often if it's 3 kids, they may not all end up with children of their own, but they could. And they want whatever's left to go to the grandchildren. A third goes into one asset management trust. If that child passes on, it goes to that child's children, meaning that set of grandchildren. If there aren't any, then it goes to the other 2 asset management trusts, and so on. So even if it's just one kid has one grandchild, eventually it's all there for that one grandchild. But filtering through the trust, so none of the 3 kids actually get direct control, which is what Medicaid looks at in terms of, do you have control of this asset? And if so, you have to spend it down.
That's great to know. I think sometimes, you want to take care of your family, and that's what you have internally. You want to take care of your family. And if you are a parent, sometimes that can be a knee-jerk reaction to, I want to give them my home. I want to give them everything if I were to pass, or take care of them. But knowing how to do that correctly, so that it also does not hurt them in the long run when it comes to services.
Yeah. They don't need ownership of the house. They just need to be able to live in it. They don't actually need money. They need the things that money can buy, goods or services. And your trustee can always make sure they're getting what they need without having to put the money in their pocket.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate this so much. It's been extremely helpful to hear this. And I love that you are educating on these things, because, even those of us who think that we know stuff, there's so more to learn. So this has been extremely helpful, not only for me personally, but I think, the HD community is going to find it extremely helpful to know these things. So thank you so much for sharing what you have. I've certainly taken away action items for myself. So, first thing first, take care of the power of attorneys.
Yeah.
And get that taken care of. An executor of estate, right?
Mhm.
That's huge because you want it to be somebody that you trust. But really, I just think the Medicaid planning portion of this is so huge because we're all going to have to face something in relation to Medicaid, Medicare, as we go through a process of disability. So
Mhm.
this information is just vital to keep us going at the level we need to be.
Okay. Well, I do have some free resources that are online. It's not specifically for HD, but just in general for Medicaid planning. I've got two kind of ongoing automatic webinars. There's MedicaidPlanningWebinar.com is one.
I love that.
Nice and easy, Medicaid planning webinar, and PayForLongTermCare.com. So
That's a
both of
huge one
those,
too.
yeah, both of those are ongoing webinars where, okay, you just put in your name and your email address and it takes you right into the webinar, and there are other resources and things that are in there. And I do have a YouTube channel, so lots of different topics that come up. I've been doing it for quite a while now. It's, if you just go to youtube.com/NC Lawyer, as in North Carolina lawyer, that'll take you right to my channel, which is The Plain English Attorney.
This webinar has helped so much. And like, I've seen how many videos that you have on your site and just on your YouTube channel. And it's just so incredibly, I'm just appreciative, as a social worker, but as a family member, as somebody who can, is going to utilize a lot of your videos. So I thank you for putting that kind of information out for everyone to access.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for having me, Erica and Lauren. I appreciate it, the opportunity to just get the word out. The more information we can get out there, the more people we can help.